Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
In the present science, we call them isotopes. Let me get this thing sorted. When we call it isotopes in so many different ways, even with the hydrogen, we call it 1, 2, hydrogen 2, or what we call tritium. Or we have different carbons, so whatever we call it, carbon 13, carbon 14, and the rest of it. Or we go into understanding the totality of the knowledge, which is lacking in the world of physics of today. How do we create these isotopes? How? And the reason that isotopes are created that never been understood and it's just been accepted. As a nuclear physicist, this was one of the first things I had to understand. You call it isotopes. I call it different direction energy packs. It's very easy. I always say, if you can't understand it in micro, go to macro, and you understand it very easy. In the present world of physics, astronomy, whatever you call, you have all the planet, stars, rotate in a, what we call, doesn't matter, clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. This gives you, let's say, hydrogen. How come I lost my pen? Yeah. So this gives you the hydrogen. And then how does a hydrogen attracts an additional neutron? What condition changes it? Why some planetary system have 1 moon? And some planetary systems have 2 moons. And some planetary systems have 12 moons. Is there any difference in the world of physics between the planetary system and their moons and atomic structure and electrons? There is no difference. But the interesting thing for many of us is, so what it is, we have this moon, combination of moons and other structures. Let's say if we call it hydrogen with 1 electron, Earth with 1 moon. In a plasmatic condition, what we call in a matter state neutron and protons, they sit inside as a, what we call the games. these are the plasmatic energies which we have never understood. How come we still have tritium, but still with one electron, with one moon? So if we create a condition of different structures, we attract different number of moons or electrons. Earth, to the present world of physics, is a hydrogen because it has only one electron. But how does it become deuterium and how does it become tritium? Very simple. Again, go back to the world of creation. What do? Give it a twist. Give it an angle. You call it the axis of the Earth is 5 degrees or whatever off axis of the vertical position, which gives you seasons, which gives you different absorption of energy. So if in a nuclear science we look at the totality, maybe deuterium stays this way. Tritium has axis rotation on its nucleus field, and deuterium is slightly twisted. On Earth, we call it seasons. In nuclear plasma physics, we call it isotopes. It does not matter what sits, how many protons, electrons sits inside. In the plasma technology is the essence of the fields and the strength it produces in its spectrum. Now, for the first time, you understand plasma as isotopes of plasma. And if we understand this, now we can create nuclear radiation. This is what I do. You create different angles. We create, is it back again, my microphone, or is it sitting on the control panel? So now for the first time, we know if we twist it a little bit. So if we twist it slightly to a different angle, you get deuterium. Or is this deuterium? And this becomes your, what we call the hydrogen. Different angle in collective plasma dictates the seasons, the field in radiation. And this will become part of the teaching in the future, because I cannot find a nuclear material, but I have the knowledge which I can twist the plasma of the center, the plasma of the material, and putting it in that angle will give me gamma radiation, alpha radiation, and any other radiation, even into deep cosmos radiation, which one has no knowledge of. What's on the screen is a gold dust to nuclear physicists and plasma physicists, if they understand it. It's the cornerstone of the new plasma technology. This is why I carry nuclear material in hand without, because my body coming from deeper space knows how to transfer. This picture on the screen is the cornerstone of the new plasma technology for deep space. I can release from different position of this energies that the present nuclear weapon technology cannot even match. So now you understand. Today, I haven't given you plasma technology. This is a knowledge which man needs, and most probably is more important to you than the energy power supply you have seen. This is the secret of creation. And how you twist or position the central core, central plasma, dictates how many moons you attract. What is the combination of the fields in that process that allows for it to be done? I told you, I start teaching you beyond knowledge. This is what you have to understand. And if you understand this, if the physicists understand this, a new world of science and technology in plasma has started. Then, if you understand this and take it a step further, this plasma can be energy of your soul. How does it move? That makes one character to become a murderer, one character to be a lover, and how so rapidly we move from one to another. There is no difference in the world of creation. It's the man who doesn't understand it brings that difference. Then you understand how we interact with you in the flight system. You cannot go into space if you do not understand this. This is the cornerstone of the creation and the work of create.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 473rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 16th, 2023. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host once again in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops. And once again, we have Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation here, present live in real time, ready to present today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes. Good morning. Good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back after a very interesting Monday Blueprint presentation. And hopefully we can repeat another one in the next couple of weeks to show you more new technologies and understanding. As we have seen in the intro, when you speak about the cosmic rays, when you speak about creation of magnetic field, when you speak about radiation, what this exactly is, what does it exactly mean, and how can we use it? We spoke about the packs of energy of plasmas, we call them hydrogen. We call it the same pack of energy, the center of the earth, the center of the sun. The same pack of energy is the center of the universe, and the center of the pack of the larger one, we call it the creator. We have chosen the name, different names for the same thing, for the same effect, where We spoke about the interaction of the fields of the hydrogen to create a moon. The interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the creator creates the man. We are another moon. We are another dimension, interaction of the fields of the universe. It's how we twist it, how we turn it. It turns out to be the soul of a man, the soul of a woman, an animal. What you call an alien, a planet, a sun. So, if we understand the totality, we cannot be prejudiced. We cannot separate it just to fit us when it fits and suit us and dismiss the other parts. This is what Einstein did to write the equation of energy equal mc squared. He dismissed everything, assumptions to the limitation of foolishness, just because he wanted to prove something. We cannot do that with the new present science. This is why scientists like Einstein will be dismissed when it comes to the totality. What most of the work is not is nonsense. Because we cannot dismiss, we cannot make assumptions just to fit. We have to understand the totality. We have to understand the principle. And we don't make assumptions, because one wrong assumption, one dismissing a point, can be your life in a space. End of the presence of your soul in totality. Assumptions cannot be made in the real physics, in the real world of creation, because what it is, it is. What you have is on the table. You have to deal with it. You have to understand it. Last week we spoke about the tree and how a seed becomes the soul, how it becomes a trinity, how it becomes the creation of what we understood and we never understood. And we made a lot of assumptions. We spoke about the seed, which comes in and becomes brought in from another tree, brought in from another planet, brought in from another position, seed of a flower. We plant it, and from it we set the seed of the creation of a tree and its roots, a twin system, as we discussed last week. So is the soul of the man. The soul of the man will become that seed. And then from it, as we said, will create that life. And with it, to sustain it, needs to carry the same principle as what we've seen in the world of creation of the Creator. There is no difference between the seed sown in the ground that become a root and a tree, the soul of the man, and its existence when it departs from the physicality of this world. In the physical side, we call the other one the spirit, or what we call soul of physicality, where the soul of the man, the center sets. It's the same when your body leaves itself behind and the soul of the man travels the span of the universe to become that seed, to become that point. But now what we need to understand is simple. What is inside this seed? That in interaction with the other fields of the universe, it become the start of a sun, a galaxy, a universe, a planet, a dust speck in the universe. What is in this soul of the man? There is no difference with what it is in an electron, in a neutron. Combination of magnetic field, order of existence, order of interactions. So the soul of the man becomes that seed of the hydrogen that will try to create what we call is existence, or what we call is electron, that again will become that process of the hydrogen. If you're not prejudiced about your own existence, you will understand the truth about the creation. Then you can explore, you can go deeper in the positions of the space to see where you are, how you're interacting, how do you want to interact, what radiation you want to create that you need in your body to absorb. Because the radiation you absorb, the food you absorb in your body is the interaction of your soul with its environment. That gamma ray, that alpha ray, that beta ray, that rays that man has not even got a clue about in the strength in the world of creation. Be prepared back to this. 3, 4, 5 years ago, when we had the Indian guru sitting in front of us and they were proud, he hasn't eaten for 20 days. And I explained to him, by moving your lung and breathing system, you absorb different energies. Now we understand the principle behind it. Now you understand when you come in the enhancement unit, how we interact with you. Now you understand why this Sunday, when we sit to dine with the Creator, how you absorb the food. You might not feel anything because the soul takes what it needs. Maybe you come full, your stomach is full of food, energy, it needs your body, your soul doesn't accept. I felt nothing because I ate from the sources of humanity. We come to the point that we need to understand the principle of creation. If man is becoming the passenger of the universe, if man becoming correct to understanding his own creation. Now we understand. Now we see. Now we expand the knowledge beyond the limitation. Now the point for us is, how do we communicate? How this ball of energy we call the soul of the man, with the fields inside it, we call it a proton with a field inside it, we call it an electron with a field inside it, we call it a star with a field inside it. What is its essence? How does it communicate in world of creation? How does it connect with the others? How does it find the rays which is part of it, it needs, it can give to? In a world of matter state, we force the release of the energy. We chew it, we swallow it, we bring it in and we force it with the enzymes and acidity in the stomach and whatever else to release its energy. We kill another object, another entity for us to be able to take in, to be able to crunch it, to be able to reduce it in the strength that we can handle it, and the energy in our stomach that become a cell of our heart, a cell of a brain, and whatever. What will be interesting is that man in the near future will find out the production of the cells in the brain of the man has nothing to do with the rest of the body. It's decided by the soul in interaction with the physicality which he has created, which interacts with the environment which is living in. That is why you get Alzheimer's. Because the soul decides, I'm not producing this part anymore, or I'm blocking production. It's not done by your stomach, it's not done by the process where the cells of your lung and heart is created. The creation of the cell of the brain of the man is decided by the soul. In collection of the fields within it, with interaction of the soul of the mother, the soul of the creator, and the soul of the planet, place and the position in the universe. Then the point it comes, even in the womb of the mother, how does the soul interact with the soul of the mother? Why do we get diabetic 1 when you're born? Because the emotion interaction with the field of the mother and the child, the torture which the mother goes through, the pregnancy, abusive husband, condition of life, will create the demand for insulin, you call it. The creation, the need for sugar, that's what you call the basic corner of the lifestyle, CH3. In that respect, then the emotion within the soul of the child decides the condition of absorption, creation, and control of sugar communication line. Why do we call it a sugar? Why we have got this knowledge in our hand, even as knowledge seekers, and we never understood it? From day one, when we introduced CH3 to you, we called it the initial energy source, sugar of life. This is why you as knowledge seekers, when you have diabetic, you look into CH3 and find a solution with it if you understand it. Otherwise, it's dismissed. But again comes, why hydrogen again? The essence of the center. And why carbon again? Because the hydrogen is the material where all the plasmas are made of. And in the world of creation, the carbon is a communicator. Depending, now you understand on what you want. You want a matter state energy, you link up to the carbon 12 in absorbing energy from the cosmos, which is 80% of the energy you use, you to go to carbon 14. Again, as we heard in the intro, look at the energy, not how many electrons and protons and all that rubbish man has created to, in a way, mislead himself, to fool itself away from reality. In that process, now we understand. Now we see why and how the universe communicates. The universe doesn't matter, it's in the cell of the man, on the moon, moon and earth, on the sun, sun and earth, the galaxy and the universe, and the universes in the universe. They're all energy packed with different interaction, creating galaxies, the suns, the moons, and the planet. We call it up clock and down clock and the rest of the rubbish which the world of physics has accepted. Then we have to understand, we have no choice but to grasp the totality of the creation, where you have one source of energy, you call the soul, and one line of communication, you call carbon 14. In the matter state, you use the energy of a carbon. In the universal condition, in deep space and absorption of the energy, you use it as carbon 14. Why CH3 is the essence of the creation of life on this planet is because this little funny chap called hydrogen, through its dimension, through its interaction, through you eat starch, sugar, whatever you call it, has the capability to behave as carbon 14 H3 or carbon 14 SH. Now, if you understand the game that CH3 plays in the life of the man, in the universe, now you will have unraveled the secret of creation and communication anywhere in the universe, where in a physical condition of the man, you rely on CH3 as a carbon-12 and additional hydrogens, that the interaction creates absorption and releases energy of one hydrogen, or it behaves very much like a CH3 as carbon-14 and extra hydrogen. That hydrogen is the center of the soul, is the connection to the two souls. And carbon-14 in a body of the man, in a dimension of the existence, in a world of the communication, the light you see from another star in your eye is the line of communication in a cosmic ray level. And carbon-12 is in matter state condition of the plasma of the body of the
Mr. Keshe, we lost the sound there.
Well, you are forever connected to the universe, day or night, asleep or alive, or as a soul, or as an entity in the universe. You are connected. You're continuously absorbing, interacting, giving and taking from the energy fields of the universe radiation. But you go for that 20% of carbon-14 as a carbon-12, which leads you to kill, to crunch, to swallow, to digest, to do what? To bring it back again to carbon-14, to create a link between cells of the body of the. How you test this, turn it and twist it and angle it, you call it vitamin B, you call it vitamin C, you call it calcium, you call it whatever you like in your body. Then you understand for the first time when I tell you, you eat 3 meals a day, you take 2,000 calories. You eat 24 hours a day from the energy of the universe, you take 80% of your energy. Then you understand why even emotion makes you fat. Why even emotion gives you cancer. It's that line of communication. It's that line of carbon-14 which interacts with the soul. Now you see what and how the teaching past years brings you to essence of your own creation, communicating within you what you eat, what you take in the universe, in the space, and what you can create in space. If you understood the position of the hydrogen and deuterium and tritium, then you understand why even man has the characteristics of intelligence. A sheep brain works 99% of the time in parallel with the Earth's magnetic field. It creates only hydrogen. Man has a habit of lying down and standing up as a spectrum of radiation. If you look at the humanity, if you look at the world of creation on this planet, why we see animals which can go vertical and horizontal have a different intelligence than the animals which are mostly horizontal. Why birds have a different intelligence, because continuously the interaction of the field of the soul with the environment and with the standard understanding of the science of creation creates a spectrum of radiations, which part of it in interaction with the physicality of the brain creates intelligence, diversity of fields interactions. It's literally, you give one thing to koala because the way it sits and it structures his life to be upright all the time, that to a man which sits, bends, tests different kind of matter state energies, creating variation, combination of fields, which in interaction with each other create intelligence. The interaction with the soul and the soul of the environment and soul of physicality in different angles creates different field radiation that man even haven't measured or understood in the world of creation. Now you understand why we went in the teaching of cosmic ray, because it's the only way now you understand what you call this field interaction with other souls, field interaction between the earth and the moon. We call it the cosmic ray, because it comes from cosmos. It comes from interaction of carbon-14 in transmitting from one point to another. And what happened when you learn how to jump on this bandwagon of fields? They give you instant zero time communication and transportation. If you go toward the center of it or you go away from it, will give you transmutation in that direction and transportation when you go deeper in the matter state. But with the knowledge, with the systems which we have created now, we can move you. We can shift the angle of the interaction of your brain with us. This is why when we are together on the 16th, on the 19th, on the 20th, we all feel the same. We go in the same direction. We interact with the same fields, because now your soul cannot move. I trapped it between the two headphones. Doesn't matter. You lie down, you get up, whatever. Some field interaction with the environment, we interact with the line of the fields. We transfer it to your soul. We interact with your soul. And in a way, we give you in that position, as your soul sits in the middle and the two headphones, direction to the rest of the universe. But we tell you, the sweetie is here, and all of you, doesn't matter how many with your headphones, will come to that sweetie. This is how in the head units and your headphones and the new systems we make, we tell you, we go to see the soul of Muhammad, blessed his name, or Christ, the beautiful soul. Because I have already shown you the strength field of the soul. And you come in, and the interaction will create you that beautiful light. Now you see, nothing is magic when you understand it. And I promise, I'll never bring a magic up, but I'll show you the magic. It's you who can fool itself, not fooled by us. Now you understand how the systems we have put in, and you come in or you join in, brings variation and a new dimension to your understanding. Mr. Keshe, I came in, but I felt nothing. I didn't have a banana, and I didn't enjoy the kebab. The Chinese brought in the sushis, the Japanese brought in, and they said they didn't feel any sushi, because you came in with a full stomach of expectation. How many of you this Sunday will taste the essence of the creation of the Creator? How many of you will smell the soul of it? You thought the body of the man only carries odor? Let's till one of you smell the odor of the Creator. You give your life for it. Let alone sing it or feel it. Now you understand. The technology we submit and we have brought in is to take man the correct way that cannot be fooled by no magician anywhere in the name of prophet on this planet and beyond. The only magic is understanding of the process of the creation of the condition at the time and the place where it interacts. Now you understand why we put hydrogen and why we put another thing and why we create cosmic rays. The first time I created the cosmic rays in the nuclear contained reactors in Tehran was magic, because Iranian scientists sitting on the table with me, they said, nobody understands these things. But now every one of you understand it. The intelligence, the knowledge of you as knowledge seekers has reached the level of the professors and the prophets of the past. Because now there is no magic. You understand how Christ rose the dead. You understand how the other guy cut something else. And you understand how the other guy did not bring the rest of the messages from the mountain. It would suit them in the dimension of interaction of their souls with their environment and the people who were there to do. If you understand the simple principle of the creation, which I showed you today, you cannot be fooled unless you want to be fooled. Anywhere in the universe, you need to understand the position, the interaction, the understanding, and the totality of the total knowledge we have dispersed. We have to see, we have to understand, we have to be part of how our world has come to be created. How initial essence of the main plasma, the main energy fields we call the creator, has led to the creation of us as a moon. Every soul of every created thing is that another moon, as we see with Saturn and with Jupiter, with Earth and other entities in the universe. Now we need to comprehend. Now we have come to the point, the final points of creation. In the future, when the time comes, when man intelligence reaches understanding of part of the totality, then I will explain to you how the fields in the hydrogen gathered. By what principle One plasma decides to be the size of the electron, and one decides to be the size of the soul of the creator. And there is no difference between the two in the process of their creation. Then the question for humanity will come, where did the fields of the soul of the creator came from? Then at that point, you will understand, you need to understand about the universal fields and not just only cosmic rays, where the universal fields come from a different dimension of interaction and is the creator of the totality. The prophet of the past, being given the knowledge, they came out with different levels. In the dimension of the writing of Baha'u'llah, bless his name, he refers to 7 mallis. Muhammad wrote it in a different name, so did Jesus, so did Moses, so did Buddha. But in essence, the valleys is the levels of the life of the soul in the dimension of their existence, and no more. Very much the way you call it chakras. When you understand one leads to creation of the other. When you understand one, you understand how one was created out of the others. Now for humanity, there is one question. What man, what the world of knowledge of the man will take man to with this new knowledge and this new understanding? And in what point in the world of creation you decide to become, to live in the dimension of the physicality or in the dimension of the soul and connection with the universe. So, as we say in Farsi, you've been eating from 2 pots when you got 2 wives. One from the pot of physicality and one from pot of the soul. And as is the habit of the man, he only shows what is stolen, which is the energy packs of the others in the dimension of physicality. Now you understand why all the time in the teachings I refer to 80% of what you take, you do not see, is from the universe. Because in a way your body continuously creates a condition within it, as you call it the cells, and you call it plasma energy packs, how to tap into 14, then tap into 12. If you understood this, now you understand why you die by age. Because your soul learns more to tap to this. Doesn't need this end. The soul has learned to become the user of the line of communication of the universal field, cosmic rays, and then being satisfied with killing others. Have you ever asked yourself why you get older, you eat less? I don't want to eat this, I can't eat this. Because the body is getting ready for transformation from carbon 12 energy transfer to carbon 14. You're taking more and more, the soul is getting mature. The soul finding connection with the other points. And then you say, I have no fear of death. Because your soul has prepared the physicality for leave the mess behind what I used to mature myself, be it the physicality of the man. Now even you should understand the purpose of life, the purpose of old age, the purpose of what you get to that point. But if the man is mature enough, if the man becomes wise enough, he can create a balance between the two and live the life of ever eternity. You've been searching for the fountain of youth. You have dismissed the process of creation, because the soul has no age. You're always young as the day you were born. Age, time, is the trap for the dimension of physicality. Now, in all these teachings, you come to understand, and you have to answer this question to yourself: am I the creator, or am I the created? Did I come from that seed which in interaction led to creation of the tree with the roots and the branch? And is my created that soul which creates that dimension? This is how, now you understand, we transmute you from matter state in New York. We take you to carbon-14 transmission energy, and we land you in London back in carbon-12 connection. Now you understand the magic and the connection between transmutation and transportation. When we transmute you, we use the line of communication of energy transfer of carbon-14. And when we transfer you, we give you a donkey and a carbon-12. Then it has to come in an upcoming time for many of you. Why then? I'm not hungry anymore when I arrive in London, where I was starving in New York. Why, in a condition of the earthquake in Turkey, so many people are starving, eating, and no medicine? Where the diversion and conversion of the soul in understanding, every one of them should be able to transform. Broken legs out of the rebel in the dimension of physicality, walking with none. That in dimension of physicality on the rubble, the soul will bring out and walk alive. Exactly what the Christ did. But this time you understand the knowledge, you allow the truth about your own soul, and you do it yourself. Or the creator of your soul does it to create a new manifestation. And if on that rebel you were brown eyes and black hair, and all your life wanted to be blonde and blue eyes, you manifest yourself next to the physicality you left behind as blue eye, blonde hair, and you become resurrection of Christ. Now you understand there is no magic. This is why you have the purpose of all these transmutation systems, UBISO, enhancement unit, is to tell you, fool yourself long enough. The soul is here. Man has fooled himself for billions of years, denying the existence of his creator, and has become the created in the dimension of physicality. Imprisoning the creator within it, call it the soul of the man. Now, are you the creator or created? Or is it all within? I am the beginning and I am the end. Now, it should be very easy for you knowledge seekers who understand this to move to the next level, to the next understanding. And once you become mature to it, you will start asking questions, not about cosmic rays, but about universal rays, which led to creation of the creator, which created the cosmic rays that you understand. That needs absolute purity and sincerity in understanding the knowledge of the creator of the creators. That you yourself is one of. When you create a child and his infant, always looks up to you because you are very big and you're the creator of it. And then you yourself look up to the skies to see the creator which created you. But in essence, the soul of that created child and the essence of the soul of the creator which created you is all the same. Comes from the same source, comes from understanding of the knowledge of the creation in the interaction of the fields of the universe. As Muhammad, bless his name, said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. This is the totality of the gift of the creator. This is the beginning to the end. And no one understood the message of Muhammad. Blessed peace on those who understand the process of the creation, from the beginning to the end, and for all the beauties which has given you. It's you who have ignored it. Now you understand how a simple CH3 you created in the bottles for years has been the essence of your own creation in the dimension of the physicality or in the dimension of the soul. You want to keep it trapped, or you want to let it be free in a bigger dimension. Man living a life of a schizophrenic is over. And now is in the hand of a foolish person to play. And that foolish person is you. You can fool yourself to deny one or the other, or learn to live with both at the same time. Now you understand how you can change the dimension. How on the Sunday, the 19th of February, in 2 days' time, we take you to eat with the Creator, which is you. You have created it. And if you look up, you get a better fields, higher strength fields that comes from the universe and the unicus. Look at the lower energies and become dimension of your physicality, the banana, the grapes, and the rest. So who would you like to dine with on Sunday? Or who do you dine with on Sunday? Your spirit or your soul? The dimension of physicality or the dimension of the creation and the creator? Mr. Keshe, I didn't feel anything. Yes, because you attach yourself to physicality. Feel how you feel emotionally the next day is the next month. Because now you have enlightened the soul. It took on the table of the food from the hunger of the love of the others on the table. Maybe now you understand. What and how you can angle, change the speed of interaction, the distance and the connection of the carbon-12 and the carbon-14 and change the color of your eye from yellow to blue to green to red to whatever you call it. Those who understood partially this, you call them something shifters, is your ignorance of the knowledge. They are not the shifters. They just know how to move the energy within the condition of what you call the eyeball in respect to the soul. Then you see different color of the eye. The shifter is you who have not understood the process of creation. This is how most of you at the point of death, you get the bluish, grayish color eye, because there is no lies to the soul. Everything is ready, and it's the same for all, to move to the transaction and transfer and transmutation of the soul from the body of the man. It creates that light. Time of departure. The soul and the soul of physicality have the same understanding in the body of the man, in the body of the president, the king, the dog, the cat, and the rest. Interaction of the fields at certain angles gives the red light in the time of sunset. And man has not understood he can do the same with the strength of the field of his physicality and his soul, and have the blue eye in the morning, gray eye at night, and my lover wrong likes honey green eyes are created for it. There is no shifting. The only thing is you've been shifting yourself to understand the reality about the process of the creation. Any of you understanding the interaction of the soul of the man, the interaction of the soul of physicality of the man, the interaction of the soul of the planet, at any point, you become shifters as fast as the others. You don't need to buy a plastic lens to change the color of your eye. You use the angle of the interaction of the soul of physicality with the soul of the man, and you'll have different color of the skin, the eye, sexuality, and everything else. Now man has a new knowledge in his hand, and how he will evaluate it, how he will use it, come to be understood. And all these sessions we are putting for 20th, the 19th, and the others to come, is that process for you to become mature in that process. I wonder how many of you will start shifting. For the process of the Sunday dining with the Creator, for the first time we'll be using a conditioned system which creates within its center the soul of the creation. It's taken our team years of understanding and months and weeks of preparation. When you eat with the Creator, you eat from the soul of the creation. When I saw it last few days, I said, now man might understand what gift they are given. And if knowledgeable knowledge seekers know how to manipulate the fields of this system, the way it's created, from the soul of the man to the soul of the planet or the soul of the Creator, man shall see the soul of the Creator of himself, which is his own soul. Those of you who go through the experience with us on Sunday, you will come out totally as a different person in the dimension of the soul. And how that knowledge will be transferred in the energy fields of the food of the knowledge and not food of the physicality, then we'll see who shall be enlightened. one of the most sophisticated systems ever created by man to create the condition of the interaction of the soul, will be on display and work on Sunday. I wonder how many of you will come with the satisfaction of dining with the soul of Creator, and how many of you will come still expecting to taste the banana which we put in there to see how you pass the test for your own soul and not for us. You're dining with your Creator, with your soul, in a dimension of the fields of the universe. And if you're sincere enough, you don't need to look up to see the Creator, but you'll see the Creator within you. Then we shall see. Then we understand the next process in the dimension of the creation. Then we come to see how us as being are part of the totality which we have ignored about our own creation. As Muhammad said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace on those who understand the beauty of the gifts of the Creator. And no more, because there is nothing more than that. You bend to the wall, you bang your head against it, you bend and bang it against the ground 17 times a day, but you never understood the truth of it, be it on the wall of the Great Wall in Jerusalem, or be it on the floor on a piece of a stone in Mecca. Maybe those who bend 17 times up, down, and bending and bashing their head on the floor might get more intelligence than the one who stands against the wall in one position and bang it against the wall. Because as you learned, the swing between the angles and interaction of the fields creates different intelligence. But how that bending and banging has created the emotion, then it brings devotion. And then you understand why we get so much radicalism in certain sects of the belief of the Creator. Be it banging the wall or banging the ground. This man who has chosen to be a banger himself, how to do it and how ignore the others, because you create mono-energetic fields that interacts with the mono-energetic rays within the brain of the man and brings what we call stupidity of belief. Now you understand. Now you should be able to push the limitation of the knowledge beyond this. We have shown you the first step is for you to go up the ladder of the knowledge. We go for a small break, then we come back, and then maybe we can have some mature discussions about the creation and not about fantasies of man in the dimension of physicality. Rick, if you would like to take a break a few minutes, your usual transmutation system which you come up with, we should be for the soul of the man, but we still look at it physicality to take us into space.
Would you like me to play this second part of the Isotopes video?
Yes, please, it'll be nice.
Okay, we can use that for the break. Okay, let me get my screen up here. Okay, this is the 473rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 16th, 2023. We'll take a few minutes for a break here with the second half of the video that's, what's it called again? It's on the isotopes. The angle is everything. Isotopes and radiation. Okay, so here we go.
The work of create. We're still trying to fix this. This is the first fundamental teaching on the plasma technology in a universal condition. But now, for man to understand how to twist it, like the Beckham does, is a riddle for thousands of years. If you know how to deal with this atom of hydrogen, as I say in English, an atom of hydrogen is and can behave as plutonium. How you twist it, how you angle it, how you speed it up, decides how many moons it'll attract. It'll decide how many electrons you attract. Because in a matter of states, the position, number of the moon, and then in the nuclear industry, what field radiation you want to take from which moon. The way you created gold, well, and the way we created hydrogen gas from. Beginning of a new era in the world of plasma technology and physics for man. Up to now, we dealt with the matter state physics. From now on, we deal with the world of the plasma physics, the true plasma physics, not the game in CERN or tokamak and what we've seen in nuclear industry in the past few decades. You do not need much to create the effect of plutonium from single atom of hydrogen. We do not need to bring and change the condition. This is what I said in the past few teachings, directly going for IAEA and directly going for what we call the sanctions on Iran. Iranian nuclear physicists have access to the knowledge that man cannot dream. What do you want me to create plutonium in and where? 100% pure. Not the way they're tackling it and worrying about 20% enrichment. I give it to you as rich as it comes, 100%. Takes me 5 seconds. This is what we say. This is what will take time to actually siphon off into the world of science and technology, and to show that with a single atom, you can have all conditions of the universe, all materials. Uranium, plutonium are on the bottom scale if man is looking for matter state. How do you handle when you have 2,000, 3,000 energy of electrons? What will be your response? In deep space, how do you think these fields of the universe get to us? How do they divide? How do they create new life? And then, now with one knowledge, you understand the soul of the man, the matter energy of the man, the what we call the plasma energy of the universe, is all the same. Now, welcome to the true knowledge of creation. Now, today, in a simple way, I showed you the atom and planetary system as we've done before, and now with the plasma, and for the first time you understand how isotopes are created in the field radiation, which allows different field strength inside to show themselves, as we call, has 1 neutron more or 20 neutrons more. It is the matter state which we decided, but as energy, the whole lot of nucleus becomes one and dictates the position of that electron, or this what we call moon. So you can play with words, but the essence doesn't change.
We know that plasma emits a spectrum of fields. Is my understanding therefore correct to say that isotopes of plasma are just the use and access of a specific range of the fields of plasma?
If you understand nuclear decay, and if you go back into matter state of how the scientists today explain nuclear decay, falls apart when you come into the plasma understanding of it. And how it falls apart is that if you move the plasma in a certain position, the integrity of the field strength cannot hold on. And that strength holding to the collection of fields creates the division, creates what we call the splitting of the plasma. And then we understand nuclear decay totally in a different way than what we've done up to now. And this brings back a lot of new understanding into the whole system and the structure of that, what we call matter state atoms. Then we understand, even in the body of the man, how thalamus and thymus change vitamin C to vitamin A. All it does, it gives it enough energy to change the twist of it. Otherwise, it's the same what we call lymph cell. It doesn't do anything else with it. It's like you're sitting in a shooting range and shooting at a ball in a given angle to give it a given twist. If it hit the top of it, it goes down. If it's sideways, it goes sideways. And you give it a slow and a high speed. Then we understand how the world of even biology, which we have accepted, will change. As I said, I can make a plutonium, uranium from its behavior from a single hydrogen. And that's what it is. When you eat food, becomes part of the energy of the lymph, then what happens? When it comes through the process to thalamus and thymus in connection with each other, it gives it a twist to the energy which the body needs, what we call what could be energy of a vitamin D or with energy of vitamin C. And this is what we have not understood up to now. The speed of rotation, the angle of the rotation, we have chosen different names in direction of the release of the fields from them. If you're rotating this way, you release less energy. If you rotate slightly with a different angle, you give more energy. And that energy, in interaction with the other fields going in that direction, creates radiation. Rubbing of the hands, but this time comes from inside. This is what I'd say, plasmatic nuclear is totally different than matter nuclear. We created out of the interaction of the field of the plasma itself, not from release and everything else which we have accepted as nonsense in nuclear technology today. This is what has and what it needs to be understood. And then mankind will move to the next step.
Okay, welcome back to our 473rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And Mr. Keshe, I think you wanted to take questions in this second half. Perhaps you can sort of explain in a bit more detail the type of questions that you would you were talking about at the end of our just before our intermission here.
Well, there's no condition. It's just that we need to mature the discussion and to understand more as we're developing the technology, as we extend the knowledge. There is no time for what I call nonsense chit-chat. And developing, understanding, we have short space of time, and these times are precious. And we get a lot of what I call irrelevant, self-centered questions and discussions we had in the past. This has to finish. We have to come to a point of maturity. Our presence in this time of physicality is very short, and the knowledge transfer is short. And as they say, every second counts. How we enjoy, how the share of knowledge. How we evaluate it, how we understand it. Are there any questions?
Okay, well, we've got a couple of questions here from George B in the Q&A. And before that, just remind our attendees here, if you're not familiar with the Zoom procedure, you can raise your virtual hand and then we can acknowledge you to open your microphone if you have a question or that you'd like to have here in the Zoom session directly. Okay, in our Q&A in the Zoom from George, he says, hello, dear Rick and Mr. Keshe. Thank you for your time and your answers. Number one, a few months ago, you said that with the introduction of the new cosmic ray generators, the efficiency of the medical procedures performed only by the doctors will increase dramatically, that what is now achievable in 1 month with the new systems will be achieved in just 1 session. So is it reasonable to say that in the following months, the fees for the medical procedures performed by the doctors will be cut to at least half?
That answer twist is how greedy is your doctor? Maybe because he reduces the time, he'll double the fees. It's like going to the French restaurant. You get a couple of small pieces and you pay hundreds of dollars for it. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you pay $2, you get a big plate.
Right.
That cannot be. Pardon?
I was going to say gourmet is half the food for twice the price. Yeah.
Yeah, as we say, if you understand it, we say gourmet is for gorbe. Gorbe Farsi means cat. It's so little, just feeds a cat. The reality is now the way the technology, understand of technology evolves. I was thinking about this actually yesterday. If we mature enough, our system technology develops enough rapidly, this is what we see, and we are faced with it on a daily basis in Keshe Foundation. A lot of things which are not there at the moment as a dream to achieve become reality. Yesterday afternoon, I had the greatest pleasure to meet the 2 brothers for the first time, second time, or for the first time since they started the process with our doctors. And I had the 2 brothers in Lynn Center with the parents, and the mother was so touched, so moved that before January, before our doctors start the process with them, both boys were sentenced to death. As we all know, genetic defect. There is examples of it. And she kneeled on the ground in the offices of the Lins, and she asked her son, "Can you move your legs?" We saw the boy in a wheelchair. And the boy started putting one leg forward, out of the hand, back on the chair, one leg up, one leg down. And she said, before Christmas, she could not do anything. And where she kneeled on the ground, backpacking him on her back. And I was wondering, why is she doing that? And she said, look, now he can bring his legs and lock in front. Before Christmas, they were dangling like 2 pieces of meat. He says, this is the knowledge. And this is how the new technology is interacting. She says, since Christmas, we have seen reversal of what we saw, that the boys will die. Now we are getting our children back. We didn't do anything. We just released the energy of the plasma for the soul to befit the pain of the grandfather. That's all we did. When I saw the boy being cuddled by the mother, wants to show that he can take steps again, it touches you. When you see the mother can hold the child again with the hope that I'm not going to lose it, it brings a lot of knowledge, a lot of emotion. Then how much we can give back to many parents like this. People living in pain for years and years, and now they can live without it. We see this now every day with the work of our doctors. You can't put a price on it. How much would you pay? How much a doctor will ask? Our doctors, the only thing they give is love and care. You should see the doctors we deal with in Keshe Foundation. They're devoted to serve. They see the change. And would they charge $1 million for giving a child back? Or would they do it that will come in time to cover everything which needs it? We receive the blessing of the soul in different ways when it comes to the people who receive it and the people who give it. You can't price it. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. And depends on what the doctors will do. What I see in the near future, when we can extend the totality of the knowledge, it should be a standard fee accepted by like insurance companies and the governments as part of the feeding program. Now you go to a supermarket, you buy a banana and food and whatever for a whole week. And you go to the government, they give you a coupon because you have no income, but you can shop. The governments or you yourself buy coupons for your energy and your whatever else, given by the structure of the governing of this planet. It does not matter if you're black, white, you're in Africa, you're in a disaster zone, or you live in palaces. Very soon, in the upcoming years, nowadays, those are vegetarians, they look at those who eat meat, frown at them, how you're killing an animal, even though they're killing themselves more. will come the plasmatic fluid, what we call plasmatic energy, that man will frown on those who kill to eat. And energy has become the commodity, be it as oil, as food, as medicine. What we see now in the process of the development, one single system used in appropriate way for different application can give you everything. This planet needs one central system of feeding. What the planet itself in its soul missed and led man to creation, we can create that secondary system, which the basis of it now are in Austria. The beginning of that system has already taken shape. The seed has been sown. That one system will feed all of us. Feed our emotion, that we don't commit suicide, we don't do crime. Feed our physical need on a daily basis. This is not any more dream. It's already there. We use the same system in a different way for you, and you touch the soul of your prophet. We use the same system last time for another purpose, for you to understand your travel capabilities. And we use the same system on Sunday in a different strength for you to feed your soul. This will bring a new game into play. Would the systems which will create, be it robots, would have emotion from now on. True emotion, true soul. And would they become humane? And then in the near future, as we see the robotic growing in Far East, in Japan and in Korea and the rest, would our robots will be given a brain cell, the same as all of us, that they carry emotion. It's not just, how can I serve you? Would you like water? It will be with a bench, how can I serve you? Would you like water? With emotion, where that emotion brings peace to the man who receives it. We're not very far, because we have created a system which have a soul. All these headphones you buy, all these energy systems which start coming out of the Keshe Foundation, carry a soul with them. You will understand how we reach you. Yesterday, for the first time, we tested the effect of the headphones, which you seen displayed on Monday. It has an amazing, amazing result. Visuality of presence, that you have to decide to open the eye where you are. Dimension of the feel of opening of the body from shackles of pain. Now you understand. We don't need to be in the world of medicine. We are in the world of plasma technology. Creation and created. And if the knowledge of plasma becomes a criminal offense for those who touch the creator and the creation, which is yourself, then we have a problem. Then we have created mullahs and ayatollahs, intermediary of the crimes, for man to understand his own soul. Crime against God, where you don't even know what God is. And you kill people for it. You are godless, and you are full of what I call nonsense, using our name to destroy others. This is what you have to understand. Man has no choice. You put a price on it. We put a price on it. And very soon, these technologies will be freely available to all citizens of this planet. And to our guests from the other part of the universe. Then you don't cost it. It won't be halved, it'll be free. Any other
question? Okay, there's a second question from George. It's kind of involved, and it depends on his first statement here, which is, you said that for 1 kilowatts of energy drawn from the grid, the new systems will feed back into the grid 3 kilowatts. And then he goes on, now the normal 220 volt power meters measure only the energy you draw from the grid, which is called active energy, and not the one you feed back in, which is called reactive energy. So you can feed back as much as you like. The new power meters for photovoltaic on-grid systems measure both the active energy that you pay and the energy you feed back in, and you get paid for it. So this setup is perfect for your cosmic ray systems. The normal 380 volts power meters that I have, however, measure both the active and reactive energy, with the clarification that if I feed back into the grid more than 0.5 kilowatt for every kilowatt I draw from the grid, then I pay a lot. So if I were to feed back into the grid 3 kilowatts for every kilowatt I draw, I will end up bankrupt. Therefore, how can I not feed back into the grid those 3 kilowatts and instead loop them back into the system or install an additional sink?
This, what you put on the table, got to be known by the Swiss Electricity Board very early on, in early time when the Swiss knowledge seekers start putting magraphs in their houses. The Swiss power supplies realized the transformers are getting blown up, but nothing coming as a high energy from the power station side. They tracked it down. They saw in a way that putting less energy in, but they're getting more back. And they drove it down to the houses where knowledge seekers were using the maglev system. This is where they changed the capacity of the transformers. And it brought some reduction in power supply in Switzerland. The Americans do this. They penalize you if you supply, because then they cannot charge you for the electricity, which they are charging you for the fuel. What you call active and the reactive is known to us for a long time. We don't bring it into public use. The first time you brought it into public. We put, if you saw the presentation from Tehran, where you were showing the setup of the energies, we set up the active and reactive. We were measuring both. Our team couldn't understand it, but we had tests beforehand where we looked at the reactive and the interactive of it. If you give this technology of interactive and reactive situation to the African nations, they'll kiss your hand for it. This allows reduction in building power stations. In a way, I take 1 kilowatt, I give it 3 kilowatt back. So they will choose how many people will have these systems. Would they install it in governmental offices? Or would they let certain number of people to have that it cannot produce over? Then the nations become self-sufficient. In Africa now we reach, according to United Nations, the maximum natural production of electricity, which is a higher, what do you call it, higher power, and the rest of it, what we can get. This is why Africa has run into economical development stagnation, because they cannot produce any more electricity from natural resources. With this, we feed back using the natural resources. We can put 4 times, 5 times more. In the West, we have this problem. As you said, we are fully aware of this for nearly 6-7 years. When we receive communication from the Swiss, part of our work, that the transformers in certain substations are getting changed because knowledge seekers are using magravs. They traced it down to which house is putting energy back in. They checked it, there was nothing, it's just they cannot find the source. They could see the magravs. This is why some of you say, I don't see any benefit from my magrav. Yes, because you have not managed to sync it, as our question puts it. There are different ways to sync this energy before the meter, not after the meter. This was discussed with Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seeker team a matter of 2-3 weeks ago. We actually built it and watched it. Our team in Iran, I can release you the communication, said, Mr. Keshe, we are consuming more, we are putting more out in the meter than we actually consuming. We got to pay. We're using 1 kilowatt, but we see 2 kilowatts on the meter. We know this, but it's the way of approach. In a very short time, I'll be traveling to China, and this will resolve the energy crisis in Chinese structure. Chinese for a long time built 1 coal power station every week to meet the demand of their growth in industry. And with the coal prices and the energy crisis and COVID and the rest of it, has created mayhem for them. I had a communication with a Chinese team even yesterday regarding this energy situation. I'll be traveling in March, April to China to even sort this, where a few knowledge seekers supply in each district can bring reduction in use of coal in China and substitute the energy usage. We are fully aware of this technology. But in the West, you get penalized because they're looking for the profit of the oil companies and the electricity companies. In other nations, to look for actually bringing life, allowing technologies and industry to grow. The magrav systems which you have created and you say doesn't work, you have paid, you have done a lot, but your electricity board in your government, in your countries have benefited by it. And you don't see the benefit because you don't know how to transfer it. If you even wind the system backwards, you can take 1 kilowatt and put up to 100 kilowatt back in. A few houses in each area will feed the whole nation, but we're living in a money world, and they don't let you do. They penalize you. I know the Americans have this system, they measure it. But if you go back, and you can't create a farmhouse for these things, a farm, you know, like solar farms and everything else and the wind farms. This comes to individuality. How much more you use, how much you will give, and how much you take. Syncing it is very easy if you understand how to feed back into your own system before the meter. What you show in the meter is already generated. You have to sync it there. Or make it by order of transformers back into the level you need in the house. So in a way your circuit becomes free. And then, as I said in the teaching of presentation of last Monday, the electricity board will come and take your meter away, because how can you run a house with a fridge, freezers, air conditioner and use zero energy? We know this from the beginning, before we launched the magravs. But with this new system, we have managed to bury it. with the power production units, the plasma power production. Majority of this is actually buried in, even though it's amplified in another way. Through the structure, we have managed to bury most of it. Each maggrav system is a massive power generator. It's just you don't know how to use it. Go beyond your meter, take the electricity which is going to your substations and feed it back into your house, and then you understand. Or divert it back in through understanding of the plasma technology. You have to find a balance, as I explained this before. We are happy with 70–80% reduction because you still pay a bill and government is happy it's earning something. You go to 100%, you get disconnected, and has happened before, but knowledge seekers don't understand why. If you become self-sufficient, what we are putting out very soon as gas electric generators, that you are not on the grid, they can disconnect you, no problem, because you create yourself. And then you'll be again taxed for living and having energy of your own. This is what we are using in the lab already. It's not something that it might happen. Our knowledge seekers have to extend the knowledge to go to the next phase of it, hopefully with the second, third phase, what you call a quarter of this year, you get your generators, gas electric generators. That's what we'll do. No Omani sheikh can marry one more wives on the back expenses of people in Europe for increasing the gas prices and playing a game, because you produce it yourself as you need it. Conversion of the gas into gas energy, cosmic ray, has been the key. And our scientists have developed it and we are using it. And most of you will join us on Sunday, for dining with the Creator. You're using that new system. We are using the generator inside the system, self-sufficient, self-sustained system energy, through the GANs, production of gas and electric energy, which we, plasmatic energy, which we create ourselves in the system. It's a freestanding system. And we told you this a long time ago. The present enhancement unit in UNO still needs a backup for certain part of it. The new system, which for the first time comes into operation on Sunday, is on that scale. The gas generator, power generator, is inside the system, built in. It's freestanding. The only connection we have to it is the measurement tools, which we use to confirm the energy transfer and the rest of it and what happens to you. And when you get to that point and you add the new plasma enhancement units, which we showed on Monday, then you become self-sufficient. Even the plasma enhancement unit needs to go to the next level of it before its completion. But that will take a few weeks or months, and when our team understand and see the difference. We already, I can show you pictures where we create light, even a small amount, without any connection, through plasma transfer. As I said before in teaching, you take a fluorescent light tube into a magnetic field to show that you created and the light comes on. We do that with LED. It's a jump in the knowledge and technology by a huge leap, which means we can feed LEDs without connection. And this knowledge is already in the patent release 14, 15 years, going to more, 18 years ago, where we speak about the lights without any wire. We have already produced it. Now our team needs to strengthen it, understand it, and what do you call it, take it to the next step. It's what we call when you can produce energy in this level, at this level of knowledge in the matter state, then the whole thing changes, where you can hold the light, where by law of physics and the manufacturing they say cannot be lit, and you see the light, the LED, which is a matter state, not a gas state, comes on. And now our knowledge seekers have to learn a little bit more. We produce a little bit more energy. Then your problem is how to keep the light out. You need a cover for your lights, because it'll stay all the time on. We can't switch it off. And it's in the patent. Now is achievable. And if you can hold the LED light and comes on, then without any connection, then you understand the, what do you call it, the deep and bound in energy technology. And it's all in the patent. This is where we'll see it. And it's a pleasure to see we are reaching that point. You were happy that you, what do you call, light up a fluorescent tube, as we saw with John in Arizona. Now the technology has moved on. We can create light in a matter energy system, which is the LEDs. Now we extend it. Now we evolve it. And we see what it is. This is what it is. You can see it on the screen. An LED light lit by just holding in hand. Is a huge jump in the world of science, where we convert the plasma energy into what we call electric current, wireless transmission of energy. And in a way, what Tesla did, if you understand in a deeper way, but Tesla created electric power generator, used the magnetic fields to transfer from Russia to New York. Now you can do this at any time. And then you see if this LED light, according to its standard, has to be, what do you call it, has certain currents in it, has been led by many times less energy, but through interaction with plasma, then you can see how your computers will run. The next generation of these systems, wireless systems, as an energy transfer, is on the card. And you put it in the house and you have it. It supplies you the energy for the house, and the food you need to live, interaction with your soul for all your emotional conditions, transportation. It's a matter of months and years for these to become common use in the household. And all has been in the patent. We are not saying something out of the pocket. Read the patents, you see this explained in the patent. Released in 2006, 2005. What you see is a magic in the world of science if you understand it. What it says, the smallest step for man and the hugest, for the mankind. For the first time, we can create energy in matter state, in a solid state, from interaction of the fields of the plasma. This is reality, and it's upon us. And as the knowledge seekers develop this further and further, then you become independent energy, food, and everything else. Extend it to a room. You walk in the room, you get everything you need, and you walk out of the room. You have a kitchen nowadays to go and cook. We'll have a kitchen boxes we just walk in through. As I said to Knowledge a few some times ago, in the new world of plasma technology, kitchens will not exist. You will not have a fridge to put a piece of meat in it, and a drawer for apple and oranges and other creature. Receive the energy like this light bulb. Your soul, your cells will receive the same energy as it needs and release it. And someone says, oh, you came out of the box, you were all lit up. Did you enjoy your food? And then when the energy goes down, your aura is different. Oh, you better go in the box, you're hungry. This is a reality, and it's right in front of you. It's in the hand of a man. The energy you saw with a, what we call fluorescent tube, is a different knowledge than this. And then they can't charge you, they can't do anything. You become self-sufficient in your own homes, in your own places. One of my biggest fear is how much they'll jump to stop the commercialization of the GANS unit. GANS electric with plasma will come self-sufficiency, because with it will come the head units, with it will come the compact unit, with it will come the enhancement units, and then the flight units and everything else. And sooner or later in coming years, there will be one compact system. We go to the field to enjoy and not to kill and to destroy. But we still have to go through that process of maturity. And this new kind of energy brings new intelligence. You'll find out children born in this kind of environment, people living this, have a total different mentality, will look at life in a totally, they become peaceful. Because they don't have to worry to kill, they don't have to fight to exist. I see that now with the doctors, when they go, the volunteers, they go through the process of their work. And this is the knowledge. I wonder how many of you will see these kind of lights in different part of your body on Sunday. Any other questions?
Here, Dean has a hand up.
I've changed the screen if you want to change your side.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Mr. Keshe, you've opened up such a lot this morning. You really have opened up creation. So does this mean on one level that theology really is going to struggle with this now, that there is no position anymore for this theology?
Do we care?
Do we care? Yeah.
That's the only question. Instead of fighting and discussing, we got to step up and develop.
Yeah.
And this is the only thing, because they say if you don't want to be a tomato, you better catch up. So let them to be. We don't wait and see the reaction. We wait to see how they interact to evolve.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. So you also mentioned that this was going to be opened up to every man on the planet. Is this a gradual process, or is this going to be dependent upon the interactions that happen?
Which part? What?
So I've noticed that many things are happening around the environments of the planet, and then you come and say something, that obviously has been discussed on a higher level. And then we as knowledge seekers get to experience it like as you speak it now. So by bringing this forward, is it a game between yourself and others, or is it something you're just going to bring forward as yourself?
What do you mean by that?
Are you going to take a position to bring the technology into place regardless? Is it something that you're going to bring forward?
We are doing that regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I was discussing this with our team. If you go into, what do you call it, the internet world with YouTube and number of viewers, they say if you have 4,000 hours of viewing in the past month or year, you can be benefited by whatever it comes. We already have tens of thousands of hours of viewing, hundreds of thousands, millions of hours of viewing around the world, all the teaching. So it's there. The only problem for us is that, in a way, the luck is that the technology is getting mature so fast that once it opens up, it's already mature. And then we have to see the next step. I remember when we went to Belgium, as I said before, they said, why Belgium? Why have we brought this technology so advanced? Why Belgium? We come to Austria, the whole government of Austrian government is to silence this technology. It's a policy, it's become a national policy with the Austrian government to don't let this technology to open up. We know it for a fact. We ran from what it is and to now to silence it, try to keep it under control. We don't tell you the problems we face in Austria. And it's the same with the other nations. Because we touch every aspect of life. Every aspect of life we touch. Agriculture, medicine, energy, health, space, travel. You call it, we are in it. Because it's you in it, not us. You use it, you have the advantage of being there to use. Yesterday, as if you remember in the teaching the past few days, I explained about the pig farm. We actually received the data yesterday and it's amazing. The ratio of the death and loss is 8-1. Is profitability and bankruptcy. In the first time, I'm sure in the next session, because the environment will change in the pig farm and everything else, with our technology, average loss is just about 1 in 100. Where is not used is 8, in some places 10 to 100. That brings what's going to happen to the pharmaceuticals which they inject these animals. Do these animals need any more antibiotics than the rest of it? So you see, you touch that. You touch the farming. The farmer produces more profitable for it. Then we go into every other direction. Yesterday, as I said, we had the pleasure to see these 2 boys. And the mother said, do you know how many calls I get all the time from pharmaceutical and the government's knowing my 2 children have this condition that they want to give us new chemicals, and I say no. Because if they find it, they charge it and then it costs them millions. And the insurance company pays. The more knowledge seekers use these technologies and the more it becomes prevalent, the harder it becomes for it to be covered. And we don't need to do much. The support we have amongst the knowledge seekers in the fundamental way is carrying us through. And we will succeed. Because we is all of us. We produce the ganses. You have to understand, I had the pleasure of meeting a couple of very young knowledge seekers, 14, 15, 16 in the past few months. And they all come through it through their parents. And also, I want to work in this industry. I want to be in the plasma. I want to work for Keshe Foundation. I want to be in knowledge. What do this big generation will bring for us? You know, you always talked about the GANs you ate and the father, this and that. And me at age of 8 coming in touch with X-rays and gamma, you see what has happened. These children has been born in the world of plasma and ganses. Can you imagine what they will come up with? It's a cooking pot to explode.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. I've met some of these guys and I know how beautiful they are. So, Mr. Keshe, another thing would be, so all of this depends on the twist. So you can create a condition just by a twist. So that takes me to the people that are going to be present on the Sunday. How can they use this information today to reach to the level that the soul would require?
Your soul has already reached, so you have to bring your physicality to understand.
As always, Mr. Keshe, yeah.
You got to bring the system we use on Sunday. It'll be the first time ever. I discussed this months and months ago, and now our team has managed to put it together. It's actually physically operating. We've never been in it, and it'll be very interesting in how you people will respond, and in a way how you respond, what you get from it, what feedback we get from it, what we'll see in our monitoring system during the process will give us a huge insight into the next step of development. We have 2 units. One is going through test and development, and another unit just about a meter away is stayed in its, what we got, carcass, just a frame made. And I'm looking at it, when it's not going to be done till they finish complete maturity of this one, that they can replicate it in the next one next door. And then we'll see a giant move. You have that 2 souls interacting with each other. And then it comes what happened when we have these 2 systems in a very advanced cosmic level interacting, and it'll be an amazing time on its way. How you people feel on Sunday, it'll be amazing. And what you don't feel is just that you haven't understood the connection. And we know the system works because we monitor it, we see it.
So come in with no expectation, Mr. Keshe, and just allow, yeah, just be present.
No, it's not the expectation. Coming with the knowledge is different than coming with no expectation. That was a game of the past. Then you get surprised and I become a magician. Come with understanding what you're in and what you can see, what you can say, and we don't tell you anything. There are a lot of things. There's one thing which we will go to this, hopefully. If we can't do it this time, we'll do it in the coming time. Those of you who come in for Sunday dinner or lunch with the Creator, you'll be given a special access in a very short time that you can come in all the time to eat what you want. Those of you who come for Sunday lunch, you'll be invited for many lunches. We'll explain this very soon. This is part of that test we did on the 19th of December. Those of you who came for the food section. Now we leave this table of food open for those who come in. We explain to you how and where and the way that We allow you certain hours, certain times to come in and to eat once a day. And to see how many of you will change social behavior, how many of you will change your physical behavior, how many of you will eat again. This 19th session is not just as before. As I said, we will explain this in more detail on the 19th. But the framework is those of you who come in the 19th, then you'll be asked if you want to come in for maybe a month, a week, a few days to eat on the table when you want. We monitor, we know who comes in because we connect the system. Or we tell you the way nowadays on a Sunday at 6 and 12, you spray gases around the world. You come every Sunday for a few weeks to have lunch with the Creator, which is yourself. And then see how your behavior changed. Do you stop eating physically? Do you see social, physical interaction differences? Would you see you have diseases that you don't have anymore after a few weeks? It's part of the understanding. It's not just we cover it with the sugar coating of having but lunch with the Creator, but there's other things hiding and sitting behind it.
Mr. Keshe, you said about the emotion of eating that it can still cause you to have a certain body shape. So even by let's say you reduce your intake a lot of the matter state food, you can still have a certain body shape through an emotion.
Yes, because your soul wants you to be there to create that persona. You're a young boy. And you are a head-on conflict with your dad. He knows all his everything, his blah blah. You have no connection with him and the rest of the caboodle, as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
You become fat, you become big. Why? Because it's a cockfight, isn't it? I'm small, but I can blow myself up. When you walk on the street and you watch father and sons, the way they are, the way physically shaped, you can tell a lot about the relationship. Physical domination or psychological what do you call it, superiority. And very few you see balance. With both parents, not just one. And then you see it in the boys and you see it in the girls. When I walk in the supermarket and shopping centers, for me is a field day of understanding relationship, soul interaction. And this is what you see in the process of emotion and physicality.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That's very interesting. So another question. Sorry to.
You become worse than Jalal. One was
no, I'm sorry. Sir. So you touched on the smell of the Creator and how that would you would give your life for this. The reason I asked about this is because I had an experience with I'm not saying touching the Creator, but I smelt something when I met a particular person, and I have a feeling it was connected to this.
Oh, so I told you, it depends on the perception.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like when you pass somebody says, "Oh, it smells of the church."
Mm-hmm.
You know, what they burn in the church, that the smell to cleanse is actually to put this thing on you, that when you go out, they'll say, "Oh, I forgot to go to the church." It's not for the church to be cleansed. It's for you to be called back. And is that the smell of Creator? It's sweet. Sweet with love and nothing else.
Yeah, this had nothing to do with the church. This was nothing to do with the church.
No, I know, but what I'm saying, the smell of the Creator is sweet, sweet love. You feel so related.
I sense that, Mr. Keshe.
Your 3 questions are over.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for the questions.
Any other question?
Okay. Brett has a hand up here too. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. I've been thinking over the last week, the function now, and you said that we wanted to talk about the creation, yeah? The function of the black holes within the universe, it seems to me that they are also a source of the cosmic waves. So we have the central sun and we have the black holes. And is this the other dimension that you were talking about earlier? Is it that as the fields come from the central sun and interact with the black holes, and the fields rub against each other in certain places on their way to us, that they perform a vital function within the cosmic waves or cosmic fields?
I think if you read the paper, The Creation of Black Hole, where he started all my problems in the world of present science, where Stephen Hawking stole the paper, this, what you asked, explains in there very, very easily. Stephen Hawking always came up with what they call the false spaces, that the black holes are an eating machine. And on 8th of July, he changed his mind when they published the paperwork of the Keshe Foundation in his name, where the black holes are the life. This is where the interaction of the sun, I think if you read the paper in original text, is that when the sun hits a black hole, it radiates fields which comes back, and new fields created. So black holes, we call it black because they absorb everything, but they're one of the emitters of fields of a different strength. This is not what Stephen Hawking promoted with his foolishness. Is what it is another interaction. Most of you made a nano coating, you created a black hole. That's what it is. And what is the purpose of your, what do you call it, the black hole? Depends how you interact with it. Your nano black layer is one of the highest resistance, you cannot enter it. But if you can enter it, you find inside it superconductivity, zero time frame, with massive amount of energies. We always think to enter the field inside, outside to inside. What happened if we use this inside? Then that's what's going to be the future of the communication lines and a lot of microchips, is to give the information inside the black hole, that it travels super speed inside itself and uses the outer layer as a shield for it not to lose. So you create new fields inside. It's a different understanding, it's a natural process, and it's a black hole because At certain point, if you change the field strength absorption or inside a nano coated wires you have, you start interacting, absorbing from outside in, and releasing energy inside out. We know this because in the test we did, as I've said many times before, in Ghent University, bringing all the electrical systems on the table, all whatever we could, we saw, we put a nano wire coated with copper wire on the table, and the professors and the scientists with us put all the currents they could put through it. They said we don't have any more we can put. What we saw, the wire held, it didn't break, it didn't melt, but through narrow gaps in certain positions, we could see liquid copper, like water swinging inside. And the professor said, this is impossible. It's liquid inside. We can see it, but it doesn't leak because it's held by magnetic field of the outer layer of nano layer. But nano layers being in position, they create a position that you can see through. So if you can see through, they can leak the light we saw out as well. So nano layers, black holes are not that eating machine. Now we have scientifically, you can show it. You all knowledge seekers, if you can get your hands on, put a wire between the clamp and give it as much energy, you will see outside, you're holding the wire, inside is melting material. But you see the light, you see the liquid copper. Just don't look at it. Look at it. Why do you see it? So if you can see it, and it's absorbing energy on the other side, blacks in these holes is emitting light out. And in the future, if you can manage to do this and sit inside and look from inside outside the tube through the same holes, you see the fields which come in. And you can decide the space gap of these that only absorbs gamma rays, only absorbs vitamin C. These are the future filters of the technology in nanospace. The gap, space gaps, you see the liquid copper. If you extend it to understand it, by reorganizing in a specific configuration, can give you a strength, certain specific strength fields to come through it. We use this now in certain part of the technology development. We use it clearly, and we see the benefit of it. There's a lot of knowledge we cannot explain, and it's getting developed. And then you can explain to one or two knowledge seekers, and becomes a knowledge which just stays behind. But space-wise technology, you don't consider black holes as what I call ridiculous point Hawking made.
I understand what you're saying is that they're not eating machines. So,
but the interaction with them, it has the same benefit of reflection. This is what it. So in some points you get absorbed, in some strengths you go through, in some strengths you get blocked, which you reflect back out. And this is the basis of the paper which I told you to read.
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah, this is explained. This is the first paper we ever published in 2004.
It's actually an amazing understanding, Mr. Keshe, because the interaction of the central sun and the black holes, I don't know how, but they somehow interact with each other on another level. But it's just like the pictures on your books where you've got the two balls and the two sides. It's the same thing. It's the interaction between two different fields that allows the existence of a single entity which comes to us, but it's not in one-sided, it's in both-sided. And when we learn to be able to decode this and allow us to create fields that interact with both sides of that, we will understand much, much more. And I thank you very much. It's been a wonderful week that in my learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This situation with existing life or material or systems within a black hole, if you ever can get, I'm sure knowledge seekers, some of you have access to it, you can find it. You see it as something, but as developers of these kind of technologies, we look at different aspects of application and implication. In the January, what I call mayhem, a few years ago, when the Iranian defense literally wiped out the most advanced bases in Iraq of Americans. Americans won't show you this video, but the Russians took it through the satellite. You can find it on the internet. Usually, when you see missiles or rockets going to a position, you see the rocket, you see the missile. The Russian satellites which have videoed, recorded the onslaught, wiping out one of the most advanced bases in Iraq of the American and Allies center, which they said they had some people having earache, because those who had the earache, they were 11, God knows, 12 meters below the ground. The ones on the side, they didn't have even a chance to hear it, because they're not there to tell us. When you watch these missiles, they're black, black, black. You only see a black bracket moving. So the technology with it is absorbing all the fields. That's why they can't hit it with a rocket, because a rocket, anti-missile, has to receive to feed back. They don't trigger because they absorb all the radars. So we see this black is not on the body of it, it's the field around it. But the interesting is what I told you will give the energy from inside what will happen. But the system inside are still working. The missile is targeted, doesn't miss with the meter, with the pinpoint accuracy. You hear a news, we analyze the use of technology in that news. So when you create this, what you call black shield, magnetic field, inside doesn't matter, because you preset the condition for the use. This is how the future space technology will be. Those of you who want to travel with UFOs or flying objects than through the soul. You can create a black energy field strong enough to allow you vertical takeoff through the atmosphere, through the boundaries of this planet. But inside nothing happens. And we saw this when I was provided a video by the Russian intelligence. I just said, this is amazing space technology. I don't look at it as a defense. I look at it how we can use this technology in space travel, in the matter state. Black outside. Go on the internet, you see it. You see black dots just come in, boom, black dots, one after another. The new satellites see it as a black hole in movement, but inside is fully computerized, knows the target, goes exactly where it's got to go. This is what the next generation of the space technology in the matter state will be. We have not abandoned travel with systems. We have moved with the option of true energy field through the soul. Those of you who want to travel with energy systems, you have enough. I've given you enough technology to travel with your UFOs. You have all the magnetic shields, the creation of black hole around your system, full intelligence life inside. But and then we don't see, we don't hear any noise when these things travel. We don't see any light. There is no sound barrier, even though they travel faster than the speed of sound. When President Trump said, we are not going to do nothing with Iran for what they did in Iraq, because he can't do anything. You don't even have the knowledge. You don't even understand the knowledge. Ignorance is a bliss. And this bliss has to the world leaders. The reality hasn't changed. Any other question?
Okay, our next guest here is John Wells. Just get your... There we go. Allow you to talk, John. Go ahead.
Fine. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. I understand a few months ago, the United States has been testing those very strong laser beams, and they managed to shoot at an extraterrestrial ship with multiple beams, and they affected it, but they didn't manage to go through the shield those ships have. They're trying to catch up with a bit of this technology, apparently.
Depends where the ships came from. And it was another air balloon which...
No, those ships are the ones that are watching out for us from outside. They were 480 kilometers up above, and they had to retire to 490,000 kilometers away to repair the damages.
I'm not a passenger in that. I don't know about these things. But I hope it's not like what we hear with the air balloons over the United States.
Yeah, well, that's a smoke screen, isn't it? Hot air balloons, yeah. Why don't they mention when Iran brought down the drone? They've forgotten about that.
No, they haven't forgotten. They're trying to learn. The process is, when you speak about these things, it's Americans would like to hype up a lot of things. Yeah, they say what they say about the man with the expensive sports car, huh?
Yeah,
compensating one for the other. This is what the Americans would like to make it to be. The process, the understanding, the intelligence is not there. There's a lot of intelligence in the Russian space people. The Americans are just what I call fair coats and no knickers, as we call it.
yeah, you're right.
They make a lot of it, but they don't. I mean, when you allow an object to appear in the middle of your country, and then you get to know it, I wonder what the Chinese did. Why they manifest all this just to tell them we can come where we like. And we see them in 2 or 3 different places in Central America, apparently, and in Central US.
Yeah.
There's more into it than a balloon game. And the situation is very, very different in reality, what it is and what's behind it. It's when I heard about this, they're trying to shoot or they shut down something on the in United States and everything else. It brought back the memory of the 1950s when the Americans sent the wire to the Russians in a matchbox, as you know. And after a few months, they received it and they wrote to the Russians, oh, there was a wire inside. You didn't see it because they could create such a fine wire. The Russians, they said, look inside it, we made a hole in your wire. So we are more advanced than you are. It's understanding. That was the beginning of the laser war when they start creating more finer laser beams.
Before they went into the war, there in, I think it was in Los Angeles, when all those lights appeared and they started shooting at those lights.
Yeah,
42, I think it was.
Yeah, but it depends who created the light.
Yeah, exactly.
Ourselves to show we have something, but we say we don't know where it comes from. It's very interesting. I'm watching this balloon game with the Russians and Chinese. It's a very, very interesting. Well, I call it with the Chinese and the Americans. Very, very.
Were they the Chinese that sent those balloons?
The point is to ask, how did you manage to get it before they detect it?
Exactly, yeah.
That's the game. That's the name of the game.
What are all those satellites doing up there? Watching whom and what?
A black hole, isn't it? But how can you allow such a thing to appear over your nation? What about if it was carrying a dirty bomb? What about if it was carrying a nuclear bomb? You're going to explode it. You don't know what's inside it. And what was one yesterday or the day before? One of them supposed what happened to be a private plane, apparently. It's understanding and application. As we boost our systems, energies, and transmutation, it is very interesting. As I said, now we are testing step by step, improving, testing, developing step by step, week by week. And yesterday, flight test was very interesting. I mean, the knowledge seekers who are going through it are on the line, they listen to this. You have to open your eyes to see exactly are you still in one place or the other, because in reality you are there. It's so visual. And then you try to see the next time through your eye or through your soul. Then you don't need to find it if you are in one place or the other, because you're right through the soul. It needs education, it needs understanding, it needs realization of the position, time, and the space and energy. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Slowly but surely.
As long as we are up CNN, we are very good.
Yeah.
When we come on CNN, comes a, what do you call it, a show on the road, which we don't
Well,
know.
they've closed their main office already.
What do you mean?
CNN.
What happened?
Or they're going bankrupt or something or other, but they've closed their main office.
Oh, bad for some of those people who were around Keshe Foundation. They said when it comes on CNN, then believe it. So CNN is not, they will never believe in anything. So
It will have to be Fox.
yeah, they're already foxed anyway. Any other question?
Okay, yes. We have a tech question in YouTube from Dot in a Circle. Can one use graphite rod to make a quality CH3 GaNs?
It depends. Many knowledge seekers have tried different approaches to it.
Okay, there's a further question from Dot in the Circle. Plasma reactors made of ping pong balls containing CH3, CO2, and amino acid. What is their health benefits? And he goes on to say, I would like to make it for sick people in Nigeria. I am a medical physicist.
You have to understand what part of the health medical you want to apply it for. As I said, knowledge, you have to understand it. If you put such a thing near a cancer patient, you might most probably speed up the growth of cancer. If you put it next to somebody else with another condition, you create different dimensions. You have to understand what it's for and what are you doing it and the way you do it.
And that's probably not something that we can transfer over on YouTube or in a workshop like this.
No, it's just
it's a medical teaching and it's kind of advanced.
There are medical doctors asking the question, so they have to understand how to apply these technologies accordingly. Keshe Foundation in the past couple of weeks has sent hundreds of emails to the doctors who wanted to join the Keshe Foundation or be part of it. If you applied for becoming or getting involved with Keshe Foundation work for past 2-3 years, look into your junk box and see what's in your junk box. If you don't see an email from Keshe Foundation, you reply. We are setting up, I think it's about 2-3 weeks ago, these have all, after 2-3 years, we responded to all the doctors, medical people who wanted to join the Keshe Foundation, what do you call it, development in wellness, and to be trained or to be told what it is that they learn on the job. And we are envisaging and we are working on training new doctors, fresh doctors out of the medical schools, to offer courses to train them in use of the plasma technology, and as what do you call it, as an alternative system, as we have the license for, to we show them they can use the facilities, the knowledge and new systems. You can't teach it to present doctors, some of them it's impossible. So the best thing is to train, because at the moment, the way we see it, you don't need that many medical doctors to run the wellness centers. Is becoming a systematic allocation, understanding, and reversal of the old knowledge to the new. And this will come in a very short time. We already have started training medical doctors, medical people in this way. And it comes by being on it, seeing the result, and understanding it, and moving to the next step. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have a question in the Q&A from an educational email address. My house has 2 power panels, one for the house and the other for the geothermal heating unit. Is it possible to get a PDF showing the hookup for the compact plasma enhancement unit before I buy it, to make sure it's going to be able to be hooked up? Thank you.
We have tested solar power plants in a large scale in Italy, with the original magnets. You have to understand, as we talked earlier on, that you feed back as much as you feed in, how your system is going to interact with the plasma fields, and how you can divert these plasma fields, enriching what do you call it, solar cells. It goes through your converters, your inverters start producing more energy than actually comes from your solar cells. And then your inverters become a converter. We've seen all this. So you have to devise a way from the fields to get into your inverters, and you can use it successfully. We have developed this technology. We don't disperse it. We don't go with it because we use it extensively ourselves in our system connections. It's part of technology which we've developed, and we, by understanding the problem, and the problem which a lot of people don't understand. In 2005, 6, 7, when I used to do all the research in the lab, many of these power generators, oscilloscopes were failing after a few days, a few weeks, and I used to take them back to the shop where I bought them. It doesn't work. Then they take it, they don't understand what happened. And after 2, 3 times, they wanted to know why I keep on taking them back. And I realized that I'm producing too much plasma power which goes into the system. Then I developed a technology. And I saved my system from ever burning out or getting damaged with the plasma fields. Many of you work with plasma, cosmic rays, or whatever. You'll find out many of your credit cards run into problem. It was magnetic fields. Now plasma fields are worse. When you work very close with some strength field of plasma, new credit cards all get jammed up. It's very much like a mobile phone next to your card. Sometimes if the fields have the strength, you find out they connect different, and then you go to a card, you put the card in, put it in, you reset it, you pick it up. But with a plasma, the resetting doesn't work. This is how I know if someone is past the field. So in the future, even in the chips we use for the credit cards, they have to build this protection. Any other question?
Okay, next question in the Q&A is from Micah. A question for Mr. Keshe. Who or what created the creator?
Partially, we answered that in the teaching of today. And the rest of it, we prefer not to get involved in, because then you have a problem with clergies and the Vaticans and the mullahs. You will see the biggest problem, as I said before, the opposition to the Keshe Foundation will come from the clergy. Because they have to close shop. This shop does not sell any more interest. And I had a beautiful experience very recently with Orthodox Christian, where he used gas technology when he needed it because of Corona. And then he works in the church. And then when he came to understanding of the philosophy, understanding of the soul and everything else, he said this is Antichrist. They said when the Antichrist comes, he'll bring these things with him. Unfortunately, he eats on the same table as me sometimes. And I tease him. I said, be careful with the cross in the church. You're eating with the Antichrist according to you. Because we enlightened people understand you cannot fool them anymore. So the philosophy and theology is through the window because you can assess it yourself. When they see the problem, then you become Antichrist, because the problem is not you, it's them. They cannot fool you anymore. The biggest resistance will come from Ayatollahs and Pope and the rest of it to rise what you call popular opposition. But in a way, it will not work. Did it work by putting Jesus on the cross? No. It gets worse. Because this one has no place, no dimension except inside your own soul, inside you. You got to question. Any other question?
Okay, we had a question from Stephen that I'm still trying to figure out a bit here in the YouTube. I'll try it. If flowing water is present in the close proximity to the process of nano-coating plates, will the mean flow direction of the energy paths align with the telluric flow direction of the water in the nano?
Yes, it does. Because the water itself is made of plasma of different sorts and different mixture of materials. Even distilled water will do that. You try to make not only the flow, you try to make nano coating with the distilled water and try to make nano coating with the tap water. You see the difference. You feel the energy difference. Your distilled water is layers very mono-energetic, that they totally develop different way than with the tap water. And the water in your gas and nano production is dynamic, so it creates its own flow as we've seen it. Doesn't need to be a running water next to it. Inside it is dynamic, and it does that, and it makes a lot of difference. When you make a nano layer using a tap water in England, and you make a nano layer made in Australia and somewhere in the remote places with no contamination, it's totally different effects. And your gases will be different energy position as well. Make a CO2 with distilled water and make CO2 with tap water. And look at the colors. In the tap water, all the fluoride, God knows, calcium, whatever they put in it is in there. And that has an effect on the CO2 you make in the energy absorption and emission. The other question.
Okay, from Dot in a Circle, who has mentioned they're a physician. How can my university in Nigeria partner with the Keshe Foundation to train and use plasma in processing diseases?
Pardon, can you repeat that again?
How can my university in Nigeria partner with the Keshe Foundation to train and use plasma in processing diseases?
You have the most beautiful knowledge seeker one of the top guys in Keshe Foundation in Nigeria. Talk to him. Alex is sitting there. He is the most beautiful soul and knowledgeable, what do you call it, Keshe Foundation members in your country. Contact him or get in touch with us. We put you in touch with him and arrange for him to teach in the university and develop. He will show magic. He will baffle your, what do you call it, your professors. If you don't know him, if you don't have access to him, get in touch with the Keshe Foundation and we give you access to him. He's sitting with you. He built a center, he built a swimming pool and everything else.
So maybe they could, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he is one of the best we have and a beautiful soul. And he's sitting in Nigeria.
So could they use the info at Keshe.Foundation address to get in touch?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The knowledge Alex carries is unbelievable. And he's a member of the Universal Council for Africa. Sorry, not the Earth Council for Africa.
So Dot in a Circle continues, can I get a curriculum in plasma science from the Keshe Foundation? My university in Nigeria is interested in introducing a degree program in new plasma science. I have been asked to develop a curriculum.
You need to speak to Emmanuel in the education and Dr. Katwa in Kenya. And Jim and Lisa in Australia. There's a lot of documents. I know Dr. Gatwa has a lot of work, and Emmanuel used to teach in college, the technology. And there's a curriculum it was set up, started going with the lady from Greece educational groups. Yes, there is plenty. Get in touch with info, we support you, we have a way to do. And you have one of the, if you give a degree as a professor to Alex in your university, he'll be there, he'll baffle the whole thing. He will do everything for you. And if you can do that, he is there. He can do things that they will see that's a magician. Any other question?
Hand up with Thomas here. Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you something. If you send the thing for info at Keshe Foundation, just put on it Alex and ask it to be monitored when it comes in. We can pick it up, and then we'll put you in touch with Manuel and the rest to do a proper program in Nigeria.
Okay, perfect.
Any other question?
Go ahead, Thomas.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning, Rick. Mr. Keshe, I do have a question which is general. I'm sure you have heard from this terrible accident in the United States, chemical accident. Is there anything we, the knowledge seekers or Keshe Foundation America can do? Because as I've heard, this will touch more than 30 million people presently, and later on even more, because it goes into the water, and the water will be contaminated, which will affect the whole Mississippi River and surroundings.
I don't, am I correct? You're talking about this tanker which turned over? Are we talking about that one?
The train which derailed.
I haven't heard about it. I can't give you any comment.
Maybe you could inform yourself, and next time you are with us, tell us if there is anything we, the knowledge seekers, can do, because it's going to affect millions of Americans. And already there are lots of deers and fish and birds dying, and people are turning to sicknesses which they never had before, and all that only in 10 days.
When did this happen?
It happened, I think it happened on this about 10 days ago, because there was no information through the media, and it only came really to the knowledge of also the American people over the last weekend, because
I haven't heard of it.
Maybe Rick could forward to you some of the information of this cloud which formed, and the water contamination, which is sort of now general knowledge in America since Monday, because it is going to be an absolute devastating thing for America. And government, Mr. Biden and Mr. Buttigieg, have done absolutely nothing. They've told the people, it's all okay, you can go back to your houses. And this is absolutely not the case, because if you listen to chemical engineers, they are saying this is the biggest, it is like a nuclear attack.
I know nothing. I can't make a comment.
No,
I'm not aware of it.
I understand, Mr. Keshe, because I also only learned about it over the weekend, but I'm sure that Rick knows something about it, or could find out what he can forward to you, because there is urgent need for help.
Thank you very much.
We can look into it. It may be one of the biggest spills that's possible, but you also have to consider they have spills every single day in the US and all of their water supplies, and the Mississippi is one of the most contaminated rivers in the world, probably.
Yeah, it's like swimming in Ganges, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's contaminated with all the chemicals coming from the top.
It all dumps into the Gulf. And the Gulf is contaminated from all the drilling that they've done there, and that's contaminated the mouth of the Mississippi, and so on and so forth. And this is a big problem with
the rivers. It is the groundwater which gets infected, and that is an enormous thing about it. So I would really ask you kindly, go and have a look at it, because this spill is a spill which has never happened before. Never.
Yeah, I'm sure people who are in touch with us will feel separated within the next day or two. And you have to understand, whenever we offer any help, it gets just put aside because it's from Keshe Foundation. So we have to look at it.
Yeah, the U.S. is not in a position to accept help from Iranian-based sources, especially right now. They negate anything that's associated with Iran, and they put sanctions on it as soon as they hear about it, even. So it might have an opposite effect to try to...
well, let's see what happens. We can still teach the American knowledge seekers to use it. Right. Because it's, well, let's see. I don't know nothing about it, so I can't make a comment.
It's basically, as Carolyn has put into the chat here, it's a vinyl chloride is the main chemical that's been spilled. There's many cars, I think there's 100 cars altogether in the train that overturned and spilt, and there's, you know, huge mushroom cloud of black smoke from it all, and it's gotten into the
In
water
which
supply as
state is
well.
it?
In Ohio.
Ohio, and it's called, strangely enough, the location is called East Palestine in Ohio.
I saw something. It's like a big black cloud. It's like a chimney
Yeah.
going up.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
and we didn't hear about it for 3 days because it was censored in the mass media. Basically, they decided to host the stories about the balloons, the weather balloons, instead of shooting down balloons to distract perhaps from the mushroom cloud that was actually going up in Ohio.
Okay.
that is it, because what they did is, instead of evacuating the few carriages which had this poison, they ignited it, and that is
a controlled burn, they call it, yes, which is what firefighters do when they're totally desperate and don't know how to clean up a
nobody
big
knows
mess.
who made it. And nobody knows who gave the instructions, because it is clear that the moment it becomes in touch with anything which is humidity, it turns into this enormous poison, which goes now into the subterranean waterways, and that's where the problems will come from over the next years, because this is cancer again, and that's the problem. Anyway, I understand, Mr. Keshe, if you don't know of anything, you cannot have an answer to my question. Eventually, this will be possible that really Rick gives you whatever he can, so that you can make your own mind up and tell us, the knowledge seekers. I know we cannot do maybe much, but maybe there is something we can do and they can do in America. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We had such things done before, for like in Italy, for the 9 most cancerous waters, and we gave 100-200 page report to the Italian ambassador in Austria, after a lot of tests done actually by Italian laboratories, financed by the regional and central government, this research. I still have the research, and they just say it costs too much. They just put it on the shelf. So it took 3 years, 4 years to do the research. The laboratories in Italy did all the work, and it's just sitting on the shelf. And it's all to do with, what do you call it, Teflon. We have the knowledge. I'm sure if there's a chemical, knowledge seekers will find a solution around it. But getting it to be done, getting it to accept, and getting it to implement it will take years. I'm sure somebody in the Keshe Foundation team will send us a dossier on this, what it is, what happened, how it's made, what effect it has. It's just a matter of time to receive it.
Right. I just took the liberty of asking you this question because it is really millions, tens of millions Americans will be affected, and this is part of this unbelievable trial which they are starting to reduce world population. And I know that if all the Keshe things will come active, that they will not succeed.
We have to look at the chemical composition of it, and we have to look at the interaction with plasma.
Right.
It has a different interaction in a physical condition, it has a different interaction in plasma. And what would that create in the plasma condition in the matter state? Right. So it's first of all, getting to these things is very difficult for them to provide the material to be tested. And secondly, if there is such a big scale damage, they are running like headless chickens running around, just trying to limit the damage. And there is no answer to it. We tried, we used to get excited and get involved, and then knowledge seekers do a lot of work, and then it was totally, sorry, we don't have the expertise to evaluate your technology. That's usually the terminology for it.
But you know, everything is most probably and hopefully going to change by tomorrow night in America, because the Supreme Court will hear again the things which were docketed by the three brothers about the validity of the 1920 elections. And then we will see, because America is really presently nothing more but a bunch of gangsters. I cannot say it otherwise.
I have enough battles with them at the moment, so I prefer to stay very quiet.
Yes, I can imagine.
We have enough battles on our hand with the American structure, but we still work. We try to be around them, and we try to be part of the structure as knowledge seekers. But arrogance has led to stupidity, and stupidity leads to a lot of misconducts. So we have to see.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Jalal is there.
Jalal has got a hand up. Yes, indeed. And let me allow him to talk there. Go ahead, Jalal.
Yes, thank you, Rick. Hi, everyone. Good day, Mr. Keshe.
Hello.
Mr. Keshe.
One question or three questions?
Actually, it's not a question. It's comparison about what you taught today. Although I didn't really, this was very bad day for me because I didn't hear a lot from your teaching. But from what I heard, it's about the maggraph and the transformer. Is the relationship between the maggraph to the transformer? It's the same relationship between a man and the earth?
Explain.
Shall I teach here?
Yes, please. We are a student. We are all knowledge seekers.
Okay. If the maggraph take 1 kilowatt, he will give back 3, 4, 5 kilowatt back to the source. And where this energy will be deposited, it's in the transformers. What the man?
No.
Yeah,
I
know where behind it.
Let me explain something very, very simple. If you heard in Monday and recently, we don't talk because it brings different understanding. It brings different realization, different comprehension. When you say saving unit, energy saving units, they look at something else. When the correct way for it is a hybrid plasma power generator. Because population now understand the term hybrid. We always, in presenting the technology, the wrong way we speak about saving. In fact, if you speak about the hybrid, that we produce some, and the electricity board produces the other, you get more collaboration, you get more understanding. You understand? And then it kills a lot of enigmas and a lot of opposition. In fact, this is what you do. You absorb the plasma energy in the environment, which we didn't have a knowledge of, and convert it with the help of the electric current into a useful energy. So you're hybriding. And when you speak about this, transformers don't come into it. Because then you understand the true essence of technology. Why do you call it magnetical and why do you call it gravitational? Magnetical is the one you don't need in your body, is magnetical. And gravitational is the food you put in your mouth. The human body is a hybrid, it's a converter. So if you speak about, is it the coils, is it transformer? No. It's creating more surface area to convert the plasma energy in the environment into useful energy than what is sitting as useless energy. That's all it is. The comprehension about the, what we call the enhancement unit, we call it enhancement plasma unit because it's a hybrid. The hybrid, you have a fuel and electric, you produce electric current or you fuel it when it's needed. This, the beauty of this, works within the structure of the electricity. This is what I said to you before, and the knowledge seekers, that we can show you with 1 second, with one wire, actually, with one wire, how you can have zero energy. But you will really truly have zero energy. You will pay no electricity bill because the electric board will come and take your meter where you have no electricity. Because you're using the system to absorb more energy from the environment and you're paying for it. And you need nano micro watts to do it once you set up your nano coating your environment correctly. If you look scientifically or visually about the maglev system, the rings you have, it's like you sit in the bath and pull the plug. You see the water going down the hole in the vortex? That's your magnetic field. Now go and sit on the other side of the plug, see how the water comes out. One is gravitationally pulling in and the other one magnetically releasing it. That's all you do. But I'm sure in the future, scientists will develop a technology to show us how nanomaterials are absorbing these energies in the rings. I've given you what you call it, a funnel of energies, both letting in and letting out in the same platform. That's all it is. So it's not a transformer. Maybe you want to call it a transformer because it suits you, but it's a hybrid system. And the engine of the hybrid is that nano layer. That's all it is. I can create you the same energy from a straight line nano-coated as you twisted 1,000 times. It's understanding the technology. Even I was yesterday with our knowledge seekers developing. You saw the balls, and then you saw the new reactors for space technology. Now we have gone into universal system technology, developing it, which in fact will work like a star, a satellite on its own, without rotation. We have started creating a real life scale systems as a planet. without rotation of matter state. It'll be on the table, tested within the next week or two. And then this gives us a totally different ballgame. This is the beginning of what I call new satellite system, where we can hang one of these over a city and connect it to every point on this planet. This part of the development now is going into a process of development, both in our laboratories in Tehran and in Austria. The all simultaneously are running into test. And it's the beginning of the universal transform, what we call enhanced systems, as a not a hybrid, but as a single plasma system, where when we place this in a specific ways, you have the wireless lights on the streets, you have the light at the point you need it, you create a light at the point of interaction, you create food at the point of interaction. It does not matter if you're 10 meters on the ground or you're living in a skyscraper, you still receive the same kind of energy for food and the rest of it. The new generation of universal plasma units, what you call as a whole, now is under construction. And I know the outcome because I built it years ago. When I was trying to understand the winding and transfer of the fields, it took me about a year to explain to a guy who, in one of the big companies making winding for electric motors, he went back to college for 6 months, a year. He said, because I have to understand things you're telling me, I never understood them when I make them. And it took him about 6 months to make one for me. It took the whole process nearly over 2 years. And it shows, it's like a hat. It's heavy, it's about, God knows, 4 or 5 kilos, I don't know. But it's a half space generator plasma system, but in matter state. It's in the lab, it's yellowish, goldish color, it's got the coating on it. And now that knowledge from what I learned on the 3-phase or the 3-dimensional matter, you call it a phase, I call it a, what do you call it, the matter, the soul and the spirit, or whatever you call it, liquid, solid and gas state energy, you just give it a different name, has become the basis of the unit which we use on Sunday for the first time. We have created a full half-sphere dynamic plasma containers. And now, from some 12, 14 years ago in matter state, now the plasma state version of it has been created, which goes on the test. And then the true sphere plasma will be tested in the next few weeks. It's not a transformer. It's a system which absorbs energy. When you put it that way, people don't understand. And then when they test it, it doesn't show the same results because the results are very much different than what you see in a common transformer. And then you create confusion and problem for yourself. This is a hybrid. A hybrid, you have an electric engine and a mechanical motor. In here, you have a matter state and nano coating. 2 systems. In conjunction, one supports the other, but one allows the other one to accommodate and work together. That's why you use that 20% energy and 80% comes from the environment. Then we say you get 80% reduction in. It's exactly, if you look at it, it's what I told you as humans do. You eat 20%, you get 80% from environment. Now you see physically working in your plasma maglev systems. You take 20% from the main coming in and 80% we give you atoms. So we made your human, what you call plasma converter. You see the same. When you run these new plasma energy units, you'll go up to 80–90%. It's like you taking 80%, 90% food, it becomes current, electric current, and 80% comes from the cosmic rays. And that's what you do with your plasmas. You have to change the language now that you become knowledgeable into the reality of what it is, and you can explain it.
So we have, in this case, to create the sink to take this surplus energy.
There's no surplus. You have to create a sink the amount you want to take from it. And the whole process is, we have a number of obstacles with the present electrical systems. One is you have a 16 amp fuses, then you have the backup fuses in the power stations, substations, and the rest of it. When we have a huge surge and electric cables get hit with transmission lines between the substation and the power station, we don't see power stations blowing up. We have made facilities for it to stop, to block. You have to do this.
The question, Mr. Cashier, why is the power station is the sink in respect to the Maghreb, let's say?
Because it's weaker than your Maghreb system.
They are using it's a nuclear stations.
Doesn't matter. They go conversion back into electric power.
Here, the
Yes, that's where that's. This is something which I realized very early on in my education. In the third year in Queen Mary College, we had to take it because we were reactor specialists and in power, producing powers. We had to do a course which I hate to do it, and it was interface between the nuclear power station and the grid. And we had to understand the whole process of the grid, how much it costs, how it works, transformers, transmission lines. And this is something to me was useless because I don't need it. Tesla brought in AC current and putting one power station. Edison came out with a DC and multiple power station. With the plasma technology, you need one power station, no transmission. With the new technology, if you understood the teaching of today, and even on Monday, the demonstration, and the picture of the light I showed you, we're done with transmission. We don't need all these copper lines we use for transmission lines laying on the street. Give them back to me. I'll give them more energy with no cost, changing them, nano-coating them to the position and the way we do. You have no power cuts, you have no, lightning stroke and the power station is down. Sorry, the water supply has cut, because if you have the understanding, you just put a machine there which converts energy into water the way your body does. The knowledge is there. Now, how do we do it? I always, it's one of my pitfalls in my education. I never believed in the electrical part of the education, because to me it's useless. And now today we showed you the picture. And transmission, everything, when you can transfer the plasma. My body does it, why can't I develop the technology to do it? If you remember, go back 4 or 5 years ago, we showed for the first time the light of the plasma from Austria Research Center. If you remember those light bulbs. Now,
yes, remember that.
Yes, now we become to show LED light, which is a total matter state. We can actually, not actually, you know, when we had the headset, we showed the new headset. Our people from the research center says, oh, we can put a light in there to show when it's working. And it's, you know, it's that much, because we don't need to draw a line to it or put a battery in it. Your compact generator produces that light that lights up your system while it's remote. and at no cost. I remember a few years ago, when I was invited to Germany to see Professor Miles, and he took me to his house and then to his lab with his student. He said, you see, he had a little boat swimming in a little plastic pond. And he said the energy unit for it is there, and we run the boat from here. But I use a scalar wave, what we call the sink. And it can go through where Tesla use what we call the other side of it. A sink and a distributor, whatever you want to call it, magnetical, gravitation, it's all the same language. One part you receive, and one part you give. And that is the beauty of it. When you understand it, just change the language. But understand when you speak about, oh, we have transformers, we can save you energy, but put a new knowledge in their head. It's a hybrid. We use the energy from your clothes, from your body, from the dog, from the cats, from the bird, from the light in the house, which you don't have any need for it, they're emitting it to give you back electricity for the house. If you think of it, in reality, is this dehumidifier, have you seen these big dehumidifier systems? You get it run and you keep on collecting water in gallons. That's your magnetical system and gravitational system. You're sucking air, converting it into water in the humidifier. Our nanolayers absorbs energy fields and does that, and inside water gives you electricity. That's all it is. You have electric dehumidifier or plasma dehumidifier. Or is it plasma air, whatever you want to call it. That's all it is. When you speak about the transformer, you go way out of the reality. Anything else, Jalal?
No, it's okay, Mr. Keshe. It's only what you said, what we take and what we give in respect, and what is the line of connection. We can transfer this energy, as you said, just clear here.
You see, if you go back, the technology and knowledge is consistent. It's just that you couldn't understand at that time. Maybe today you understand part of it, and some of you have already understood part of it or most of it. If you look at the maglev system, we always gave you that mixture in the center ball. And we asked you to, when you nano-coated it, put some GaNs on it. Do you remember? You still do it? That ball is a sink, and that ball is the provider at the same time. When we tell you, when you make, some people say, oh, I made a maglev unit, didn't work a little bit, blah, blah. But none of you ever listen to the whole process we tell you. What to put in the ball, what to put on the nano coating, how you nano coat, when we tell you, has a procedure, has a reason. You follow, you get the cake. You don't follow, you have dough. How come we transfer the same knowledge to the labs in Tehran? They get the same result as we get to the lab in Austria. And we show you on Monday, 50% plug and play. The minute you plug, you get your 50%, and then you build up. If you plug it in the first time, a few hours, it builds up to get to the point, and it builds up, it goes up, it goes up. But again, there is a You have to understand between the matter state and the cancer state and the nanolayer states and how to play it. Then you get a huge conversion. In our system, we reach that point of conversion. We don't need, because we don't need to put something back into the grid. We feed everything back into our system. And then we evolve it. I hope I know where you're going and I know what you're talking about. And your team in the background you're working with, I get a lot of insight in what they're doing and how they're doing things. You have to get together and redefine your work. Your guy in Philippines is nearly there. Your guy in Thailand is on it. But he's not as, what do you call it, scientific electrically minded. And then your other guys, your group is hovering around like a
Like a bee.
like a moth around the light, but you don't want to understand the light is you. You don't need to be the moth. That's a problem. I watch what your team is doing. It's beautiful, and how they, different people in different part of the world working together come to something and they leave it because they don't understand it. They come back with, and I say they don't listen to the teaching, do they? As you know, I don't interfere. When I interfere, when I go in directly, like in the research centers, we develop things and we change things rapidly.
Maybe we need to invite the creator to a lunch.
Have a word on Sunday when you meet him. Have a quick chat.
Yes, as you said, Mr. Keshe, we have to, in a way, to be humble.
No, it's to understand, because when you're humble, you're not arrogant, you see everything. When you become arrogant, you become one-sided point of view. That's the difference.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. But by the way, the knowledge seeker, they will not invite any more dean to the workshops.
What do you mean?
Yeah, he is not benefit to the knowledge seekers. He do not give any tips, nothing.
Well, you mean he wants you to spy? You want to spy on us?
Yeah. Mr. Keshe, nothing. We get nothing from him. What you done?
The whole structure of the Keshe Foundation work is very, what do you call it, compact. And you see the beauty of it when you go to the research centers and when you see their work. What we show in public is dinosaur time to compare to what is developed and what is inside. And part of technology, you see, it's not even in the realm of imagination, let alone reality, which is sitting in these systems. We have the technology to create the matter state. We have the technology to create fields of what they call the soul. We have technology to understand the interaction between them. We have created a system which has a soul. We measure it. You see that blue line in the graph? That's the soul of the system. And you see how it follows the soul of the man. When I tell you you have robots with emotion, it's already on the table. You've seen, but you don't understand what it is. To use just a blue line. But that's the soul of the system. That's the behavior of the field, of the energy of the system in respect to what they have with them. That's why I say nobody will ever be able to copy what the Keshe Foundation puts out as a structure, as what they call systems. Impossibilities. It's not, when you go to China, they take you to a telephone shop. The shopkeeper first gives you a Chinese version and then he puts the Apple version original on the table. And then even when you buy the Apple Engine version, it's actually a copy themselves. And when you use it, you understand, oh, this cannot be Apple, even if I bought in the original box of the Apple. I have a Chinese Apple. It's interesting when I put it next to the Apple I bought in Europe. Looks the same, exactly functions, but when you ask certain things from it, it doesn't do. Because it's not Apple. As I said, be careful when you buy something with a fake things, the same as Keshe Foundation. Don't live up of your leg in Atlantic on transmutation. Shall we call it a day?
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I hope
Right.
this information can help someone.
Oh, help someone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else, Rick?
Well, there's always a few more questions, Mr. Keshe, but we can never totally catch up. So I'll just remind people that if you didn't get your answer today, then just copy down your question and try it earlier next week.
Thank you very much. We most probably see some of you on the Sunday lunch, and we'll tell you what might happen with you after the Sunday lunch. As usually, we don't tell you anything till it happens. The ones who are in there, they get to know what it is, and access is limited to that limitation. As you have seen on Monday, some of you on the Blueprint Day, we have released the new power plasma generators, which now they're mass produced and they're available. And the compact unit, compact plasma unit with a head unit for the what we call all sorts of applications as a console. And the what we call the new NEGANs was shown for the first time on Monday. These are all available and going through the production system. As we start now showing this physically, inviting people to come and see it in Linz Center as the orders come in. We'll backlog to, it's like waiting for the systems to be in your turn to receive it. We have a start inviting and meeting with industrialists who can use and benefit by the system in their factories, in their operation. And as it grows, this is how it is and how we'll bring the change. Thank you very much for today, Rick. And hopefully we'll have some lunch with each other on Sunday. Thank you very much.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, well, thank you everybody for being here today on the 473rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 16th, 2023. Let's look at our calendar for the next public teaching workshop, which will be the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace and Justice, which comes up on Tuesday, February 21st. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European time slot. I think that's it for announcements for now. And once again, thank you, Mr. Keshe, and thank you everyone for being here today. Okay, we'll go out with the flight enhancement spaceship unit, as we like to do so often. And you can dance your way to whatever it is the next best thing you're going to do. Bye for now, everyone.